Do you want to commit to following your heart and creating an extraordinary life? If you do, you've come to the right place. Welcome to Warriors of the Heart. I'm Sloan, and we're going to dig into the Warrior's Journey. This is the methodology that I created to help you create change in your life, and it can be used for one little thing, or it could be used to change your whole life. And you're going to see as we dig in the way that you can use it in a variety of ways in your life. So we're going to focus on the first segment of the Warrior's Journey. That's the first 3 steps on dream, educate, and face yourself. Let's dig in. First off, on dreaming, I want to tell you that the dreams that you have matter. All those little desires and things in the back of your mind, or maybe it's really big in the forefront, those things matter. And the reason it's so important is this is your map for your life. This is literally the only map that we ever get in our lives. And you have one and I have one. And the thing is, nobody else can tell me what the map is, same as I can't tell you what your map is. So we've got to start to pay attention to those little whispers inside of what you actually want. Do you want to rent a yacht and sail around the Caribbean? Do you want to do a service project in Africa or South America? Or maybe, do you want to have an honest conversation with your partner about how you like to be touched? What is it for you? Maybe you want to buy that fabulous pair of shoes, or maybe you want to go on some new vacation. Maybe you want to have a new depth of relationship with someone. Maybe you know you need to have an honest conversation. Whatever it is, what I'm talking about here is that inner knowing, that inner compass. And it's not the chatter, so it's not the voice that sounds like you that's talking all the time in your head. It's that inside knowing of a path that you should take, a conversation you should have, something you should do. And it's hugely important first that you get clear on what that is in order to figure out the path that you want to take in your life. Can you imagine saying yes to every single experience that comes into your life? There is an amazing man named Michael Singer, who I personally consider one of the greatest philosophers of our time. And he wrote his autobiography called The Surrender Experiment. And what he basically did for 40 years of his life was that no matter what circumstance came into his life, he said yes and accepted it. He followed his heart and listened to what was inside of him. And the summary of the story is that he goes from basically being a hippie meditating in the woods to being the CEO of a $300 million company that he started. I mean, it is an amazing life story, and he's an awesome human. And I want to use this as an illustration to show what is possible if we were to just be in a place of, I'm listening to my heart, I'm following what's inside of me, and I'm going for it. And that's what we're here to do at Warriors of the Heart. I want you to ask yourself and really honestly answer this question. How badly do I want this change? How much do I want to start living my dream life? How important is this to me? Now, where do you start? You've got to start where you are. So if you're not in practice of doing this, maybe you start with tonight, you don't feel like doing the dishes and making the house immaculately clean before you go to bed, so you just leave it because you need some time for self-care. Maybe you know there's a conversation you've been putting off that you really need to have, and you go and do it and talk to that person. Maybe it's something much bigger, but you have to start in the place where you are, because following your dreams and even listening to what they are really is like a muscle that has to be flexed. It's a skill that we build over time, and the more we listen and then take action on it, the stronger it gets. Okay, so step number 2 is educate. Are you ready to take a look at what new mindsets, values, and beliefs you need to integrate in your life in order to achieve the dreams that you want? Unless we take massive action to up-level the way we think, we're pretty much stuck with the mindset of the people who raised us. Can you think of any limiting beliefs you have? They're probably beliefs you were raised with, but they're ones that hold you back. Like money's hard to come by, or finding a great guy is impossible in this town. These are beliefs that will stop you from living an extraordinary life. So in this educate piece, there's a certain amount of reading of great thinkers, working with a coach, having high-level conversations with people who are also growth-minded and growing and building their lives that will show us what's possible and how we need to think in order to get to the place that we want to go. Have you heard about Neil Strauss's book called The Truth? It's about his exploration of non-monogamy. Now, for years, I didn't really realize that a variety of relationships that were non-monogamous existed. In fact, I used to say to my daughter's dad pretty regularly that I thought we should have a wife. And I know that's not PC, and I'm just being totally real here with you, but I did used to say that. And I was sort of joking, but not joking, because I was interested in what would it be like to be in a relationship with two other people. Now, I had to educate myself to find out that this was actually possible. People were living like that. And then I had to go and explore that and see what this desire was inside of me that was interested in pursuing it. So the point I'm making here is a lot of times these desires that we have are things that we think aren't okay, or society wouldn't accept it, or with our family it would be a problem. But somehow, some way, it's pointing the way to our purpose, or pointing the way to our most fulfilled life. So you've got to educate yourself on what experiences are possible as well. Now, the awesome thing about education is that our current science of quantum physics is proving what some of the greatest thinkers of the last century have been telling us, including Napoleon Hill in Think and Grow Rich, and Wallace Wattles in The Science of Getting Rich, have been saying that we are creating our reality. And here's how it happens. The thoughts that we think causes the actions that we take, which then cause the experiences that we have. So if we can go back to that first level of thoughts and change our thoughts, we change our actions and we change our experience in life. Now we're on to the third step of the preparation of the warrior's journey. So we've looked at our dreams and what we want out of life. We've educated ourselves to figure out what experiences and beliefs and values are possible. Now we've got to take a look at ourselves. So I was recently working with a client, and we could not figure out why his business wasn't having the success that he wanted. He seemed to have all the pieces in place and like he should be earning a lot more money and doing a lot better in his business. And I found something that from my months of interaction with him, I never could have imagined. That thing was that he wasn't standing by his word. He wasn't following his word, and nobody could trust him. Now, what does that mean? He would tell his employees he would be into the office by a certain time and wouldn't come. He would promise clients to get things by a certain date, and a month would pass and it had never been delivered. He was late to appointments with clients, and on and on. And he sort of thought this was a quirk of his personality and just the way he did business. And he wasn't seeing that it was affecting everything. It was affecting the trust that everybody had in him. It was affecting the revenue in his business. It was also affecting the profitability in his business because he had to spend a lot of money to make up for all these things going on. And this is a really hard thing to see. Now, when I tell you this story this way, it seems like, whoa, of course. But I want you to take a look at your own life and really ask yourself, what is it that I'm not seeing about my life? It's called a blind spot, and we all have them. And we've really got to be curious to dig in to find out what's going on, meaning why we don't have the things that we want. And this is the process of facing yourself. It can be really hard, it can be really depressing, and honestly, that's why most people will never do it. Most human beings will never face themselves and never look themselves truly in the mirror because it hurts too much. But the best thing about facing yourself is that when you do, you also see that you have the power to change it. You also see that you can create whatever it is that you want, because if you were creating what you didn't want, you have the power to create what you do. So where do you need to face yourself? Where do you feel stuck? Where do you feel like someone else is causing your circumstances? This could sound like, if only he'd work harder, I could quit this job. Or anywhere you feel activated is a really good place to start to see where you need to face something about you. Because anytime we're activated, it's a pretty good indication that it's our own material or issues we're dealing with. I'd love for you to comment below if you have questions on this or if there's some way that you want support. Or comment if you want to share where you're activated and what that's causing you to see about yourself. So this is the preparation stage of the warrior's journey. The next step is the crossroads. Make sure to watch the next video where we're going to dig into the crossroads, what it looks like, and how you make a really conscious decision about whether to move forward that makes all the difference in your life and in the result that you get when you do. Also be sure to hit subscribe and you'll be the first to know about the new videos that we release every Tuesday. Welcome to Warriors of the Heart. We are a community of women who are committed to following our hearts and to creating the most extraordinary lives that we can. I'm so glad to have you here.